GSP hasn't eaten in 5 days. Okay, so he comes to my practices. He's still training with me at Tristar, and he's done 5 days of water fasting. So water and Himalayan salt. Guys, I've never done 5-day fast. Like right now, currently I'm fasting. I'm doing what I call active fast. I'll talk to you guys about that another day. But GSP literally, he does these kind of fasts about like, now he's aiming for 2 to 3 times a year. So that's 15 days. So 5 days at a time, just salt water, just water and a pinch of salt, just a little bit of Himalayan salt. Let me tell you something. He's done his blood work. He's done his he's checked his hormones and his blood work, and supposedly it's really good. Like I haven't looked at it myself, but for those of you who don't know, there's a huge spike in your testosterone. Your testosterone goes up. You're going through autophagy. We've talked about this in the past. Look it up. It's a very phenomenal topic. However, he can't train as intensely. So he has been training the first 2-3 days. He kind of keeps a normal schedule. Believe it or not, the first 2 days, he's actually rolling live and wrestling, and then he's doing his water workouts at night. He's going like normal, which I find crazy because I do fasting myself, but I do 1 meal a day. And I also started my own type of tweak on fasting. I'll tell you guys about that another day. I call it active fasting. I think it works really, really well. I've really leaned up. I've really, really leaned up. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've definitely gotten a lot lighter. I checked myself on the scale last time. I was 168. I kind of freaked out a little bit because normally I like to be never lower than 170. Like if I get lower than 170, I have to start lifting a lot of weights because I can easily get down to 165, 160 if I eat right and keep training the way I do. I'll just lose too much weight. And for me, I don't like to be that small. I just find that I like to be bigger. So once I reach that kind of weight, I start lifting a lot of weights after practice. I start trying to bulk up more. Because of course, jiu-jitsu and kickboxing is a lot of endurance work. So you kind of get a little scrawny, a little skinny. So I kind of, for me, that when I start hitting below 170, it's a red alert. Like I got to start eating a little more. But the thing is, fasting is so quick to lose weight. That's why if George ever fought 165, I feel like we can make 165 quite comfortably, because now George has discovered this new way of losing weight. Okay, and like I was saying, so the first 2 days he's kind of training normal. The third day he's got to start coming in just doing technique. By day 5, okay, so day 3, 4, and 5. By day 5, like it's time for the meal. Like he's done. Like he came in on day 5 to a jiu-jitsu class I was teaching, and we drilled for about an hour, and that's it. No rolling. So there is a cost. You do have to ease back on training. Now's the time for him to do that, and of course he's doing this because of his health. I don't recommend doing 5 days of fasting for anybody, unless you're doing it for like spiritual reasons, or you have like a lot of fat to lose. You're not in shape. I think 1 or 2 days is plenty. George was telling me it takes about 36 hours to hit autophagy. I'm not sure about that. I've looked it up myself. I think if you're training and you're fasting, it's going to come a lot sooner. At least that's what I feel, because when I'm training and I'm fasting, I start feeling if I don't train and I fast for 2 days, I feel the same way as if I fast and train in 1 day. Like I feel my body like just ate up all the reserves, and I feel like I'm right there. I'm at that point where my body is like it's eating itself up, like it's just digesting itself. Like I have that feeling, and again, it's just from years and years. I've been fasting my whole life for Ramadan. Now, training and fasting is something kind of different, because when you train and you fast, your body just goes through its reserves. I think most people, when they fast, they don't train. Okay, I have a lot of experience training and fasting. If you train a little bit when you're fasting, your body just it eats up whatever you ate the day before, whatever you had in your system. It's gone, man. I'm telling you, it's just gone. It's just you put your system into warp drive. That's how I could describe it. Now here's something else that's really fascinating about fasting. If you do it right, if you fast for long enough, you start having incredible. I know you guys are gonna find this weird, but you start having incredible mental clarity. You start having profound thoughts. Like you start thinking. I don't know if it's for survival. Like your brain has a system to make you super smart, so you could figure out like how to get resources out in nature. But if you fast for a prolonged period of time, you will start having deep, like your IQ jumps. Your IQ, you just start thinking, figuring out things, and you start having thoughts you never have before. And there's a famous quote by Plato that says he fasts for mental clarity. Now, of course, many great thinkers, sages, fasted throughout their life. And it does, for those of you who don't know, if you fast long enough, you start having it has incredible effect on your cognitive ability. Incredible. Like nothing I've ever experienced before. And this only comes from prolonged fasting. Now I do liquid fasts and I do dry fasts. So during the Ramadan, I do a dry fast. Dry fast for me, I found it very difficult to train intensely. I can only do very little training. However, liquid fast, if you give me water and a pinch of salt, I can do lots of training. I can do a lot of training. However, I can't train twice a day. I can't do like a professional would train. I can train to a certain amount. So that's why I like what I call active fasting. So me, I'll fast, but when I go to practice, I'll have a little bit of grains, like specifically grains, not just fruit. I'll have a oatmeal or a granola bar or whatnot, but only right before training, because I feel that energy is going to be used for my practice. I can actually train a lot more intensely. So that's what I call active fasting. And then I won't eat. I'll eat right before and right after practice, but then I won't eat after that. So I just finished practice. I haven't eaten anything. Before I go to practice tonight, that's maybe the second practice, I'm going to eat something. Then I come back home from practice. I'll eat a little something just to go to bed. And that's it. I won't eat till tomorrow. But when I tell you eat something, I'm telling you I'm eating less than like 300 calories before I go to practice. When I come back from practice, probably another 300 calories. So I'll have less than 1,000 calories in a day. And I feel that I can train far more intensely and I still have all the benefits of fasting. I still feel like however, if I ate and didn't train, I feel like it breaks the fast. However, if you eat and you go and you train very intensely, I feel like you're right back on that fast. It feels the same thing. I feel like, again, I don't have any studies to back this up. I'm just going by my own intuition, but I feel like I'm having all the same mental clarity. I'm having the same feeling of being on a fast. Like if I fast for 24 hours or I have a small amount of grains and then go train for 2-3 hours, I feel like I'm on the same. I feel like I'm even been fasting 48 hours now. I feel like it's even more of an intense fast because the training boosts your system. It boosts your cognitive abilities. It your adrenal glands kick in, and I feel like whatever I ate just gave me the energy to create this fire, just to push my metabolism, turn my metabolism on. So I've been really liking doing it this way. And on the scale, like I said, guys, my weight dropped too fast, like literally way too fast. And I started lifting weights. Like now every night after practice, I lift weights because I really don't want to lose any more weight, but I also don't want to stop fasting. I want to keep training hard. I want to keep active and I want to fast. So I want both ends. So for me, the way to solve it is to keep the muscle mass. So I'm doing a lot of lifting after practice now. But the right amount of food can help you also boost your, sometimes you're feeling it down, you have a little snack, you feel great. I do agree with George. George is always telling me now that we're overfed. We are overfed. Like after now that he's experimented with fasting, he says that people are like, especially in the West, we can't disagree. I mean, there's nobody out there who's going to convince me that we eat just the right amount. We eat way too much. I mean, our societies as a whole eats way too much. Like in the West, we just eat way too much. People are obese, man. People are fat. We don't realize it because we're surrounded by overweight people all the time. And I'm not trying to say this to be negative. I'm just trying to say that, look, our health is taking a beating. Why? Because there's a McDonald's around every corner and it's cheap and it's tasty. But the truth is we're all addicted to food because we don't need this amount of food. It makes us highly unhealthy. Everybody overeats. And I, for one, I'm really happy to be able to shed that curse, man, because overeating is a curse. You don't know it, man, but it's an addiction. Excess salt and sugar in everything. I agree with you. That is very true. Excess sugar, fat, calories. We have too much excess of that. And you know what? It really kills your energy when you have too much fat, sugar, salt. It just kills your energy, man. It's just people don't know that you're supposed to feel good. The human body was designed to feel good all the time. The human body was designed to be high all the time, like high of energy. Like when you have high energy, you feel great. Like personally, today I ate a little bit of granola and I went and I trained. And I haven't eaten anything. I'm going to eat something again in about 3 hours, a little bit of grains, and I'm going to go train for 2-3 hours. Then I'm going to lift weights. And I'm going to feel amazing. I'm going to feel incredible, man. I'm going to feel incredible. What I used to do is I used to eat once and then go train twice a day, and I would eat one meal every 24 hours. The second practice I was eating more than I'm eating now. So what I was doing is I was having one meal a day. They call it the OMAD diet, one meal a day. And then I would go train. However, it's a lot more calories than I'm eating now, and I was feeling worse. I felt the second practice. So I would have one practice in the morning, then a meal in the afternoon, then a practice at night. I felt that meal in the afternoon made me sluggish. It made me sleepy. So then I have one practice in the morning, one practice at night, and then a meal at night. But the problem with that is my second practice was I was sluggish. Why? Because I haven't eaten. I practice once, rest for a few hours, then go to practice again without having any food in my system. I just felt horrible. I felt sluggish. So now what I've been doing is I've been eating just a little bit. So I was probably eating like 2,000 to 3,000 calories with the OMAD diet, with a one meal a day diet. Now I'm eating probably like 600 to 900 calories a day, and I feel even better. I'm eating less. I'm just timing my food to coincide right away, right before my trainings. They go together, right? So I'm about to train. Here's a little carbohydrates, a little bit of grains, lots of water, a little bit of coffee. Let's go to practice. How do you feel? I feel really good. At night, I'll have a little something, just so when I sleep, my stomach's not too empty. I don't feel any pain, but I feel great. I feel really good. And I eat very little calories. Why? Because I'm convinced after all this fasting and all that, we don't need so much calories. People tell me, it's going to slow down your metabolism. I refer you to the work of Jason Fung. I've talked about this in the past, but I'll keep it really short. Check out Jason Fung's work, everything you need to know about fasting. It's a myth. We don't have any evidence that if you don't eat for a prolonged period of time that your metabolism slows down. We don't have any evidence at all. That's just it's just hearsay. From what I understand, again, you'd have to refer to Jason Fung. That's what he says. I'm relying on him. He's the doctor. He's the expert on fasting. He's the guy who takes all sorts of data on fasting, and I've experienced it myself. I feel really good in fasting. Now listen, if I was preparing for a camp, I wouldn't do it this way. I would have like little short meals throughout the day. I would just keep a stream of nutrients. I think that's great for fighters. It's great for recovery. It's great for being lean. However, I just feel there are a lot of benefits to fasting. One, you shed a lot of fat. Two, I feel great. I feel mentally clear. However, I won't train as hard as I would if I was doing meals throughout the day. So, like 6 small meals a day. I feel I can train really hard on that kind of diet. And I'll still do that every so often. Like sometimes I feel like that's what I need to do. And then I like to cycle between both diets. I like to do fasting on the weekends. So during the weekends, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I only have one meal in my day. During the week, I do 2 very small meals right before practice, because during the week we're training hard. We're wrestling, we're doing rounds and rounds, and we're holding I'm holding pads, we're coaching guys all day long. Like it's a lot of practicing. I feel like I need some energy right before practice. But I feel like I can eat just a small amount. It's funny because when I was training in Thailand, you guys are gonna laugh. Some of those guys in Thailand, they would just eat. They would train twice a day, eat twice a day only. Man, and they would eat such little food. Like I'm telling you, they would eat like a handful of rice with a little bit of something on it, like barely anything. Why? Because they were cutting weight. And they would train like animals. The Thais would train like animals, like 3 hour practice in the morning, 3 hour practice at night. That's including the running, hitting pads, clinch work. They would train for hours, and they would just have a little handful of rice before. It was incredible, really incredible how little they eat in Thailand. Alpha Brain Nootropics. So if you're talking about Alpha Brain, like what Rogan has on his site, yes, he sent me a few bottles. I've taken it, love it. I think it's great. I take it every so often. So yes, I do take nootropics. I just didn't know that was the name. I do take the Alpha Brain product that Rogan gave me. Really enjoy it very much. I take it every so often. Again, I take supplements every so often. I'm not a big believer in doing supplements all the time. I like to cycle them. I do think they're important. Some people say they're not important at all. They're a waste of money. I disagree. Personally, I've had times where I feel a little bit sluggish. I go through my supplement cabinet. I take a bunch of stuff. I don't even know what I was missing, but I just feel better automatically. Is it psychosomatic? I don't know, but if it is or it isn't, it doesn't matter. It works for me. It's a small price to pay for, because I buy a bunch of stuff, but I don't go through it in a week. It's there. I have a stock. I feel good taking it, so for me, that's what counts. Urban Chris, coach, why grains and not fat? Have you experimented with fats? Well, listen, Urban. Yes, I have experimented with just fats. I feel like my cardio gets killed. I did some research on it, and they tell me that for your body to metabolize fat, it has to go through more steps than just glycogen. Grains. Glycogen is directly stored into your muscle. So it's a faster, more available, more efficiently transformed fuel because it's directly in your muscle, whereas fat has to go through a few more steps than the glycogen that's directly in your muscles. Now, glycogen is, you get it from grains, you get it from carbohydrates, whereas fats, they don't burn as efficiently and they're harder to metabolize. Again, I'm not a biologist, not my field, but this is what I've understood from the experts that I've gotten a chance to speak with, talk to. Grains are very important for explosive athletes that work in MMA. If you're an endurance athlete, if you're a marathon runner, you can do it off fats. However, for somebody who needs it to be explosive quick, like a sprinter, 100-meter sprinter or whatnot, you need those grains. It makes a whole difference. Now, listen, I've experimented myself. I've tried all fat. I've tried it. My cardio drops. My power drops. Like I feel good on fats, but now when I do an intense exercise, like I can lift weights on fats. I can do technique on fats, but once we start wrestling or sparring really hard, my cardio takes a beating. It takes a real beating. Like my heart starts to beat out of its chest. For me, it doesn't work. And people tell me, oh, you got to wait till you're fat adapted. I don't believe in that. Personally, I've never seen an athlete that just purely works off fats in MMA. I've never seen it. Maybe tomorrow somebody will prove me wrong. Maybe you got to wait a whole year. You got to eat fats for a whole year until your body gets adapted. Some people tell me it's 6 months. Look, I've never seen anybody do it. So until somebody does it, I'm happy on grains. I feel grains satisfy me. When I eat grains, I feel like I'm satisfied. I'm not hungry, and my performance in the gym is great. I feel I have the energy. Plus, my fat is very low. So why wouldn't I eat grains? What's the downside of eating grains? Somebody have to send me a link if there is a downside to eating grains. I'm not aware of it. I love the Dolce breakfast bowl. If you guys don't know what the Dolce breakfast bowl, look it up. Okay, it's basically it's oats. So I love in the morning oatmeal. Love oatmeal. If I'm training, having an intense day, I'm gonna eat oatmeal. If it's not an intense day, let's say I'm just going in doing technique or whatnot, I'm gonna eat just dates. I love dates. So oatmeal or dates, those are my two favorite breakfasts. They're very easy to digest when you train. It doesn't jump around in there. Like sometimes I have eggs, but sometimes it jumps around in there as you're rolling on the ground. Oats, flaxseed. Any type of seed, actually. You can put hemp seed, flax seed, berries, any type of fruit, a little bit of maybe a spoon of almond butter, but I only use just a quarter cup of oats, not a lot of oats, just a little bit. And you put in a little hot water in there, mix it up. It's delicious. It digests well. You got the grains. You got that power. You have that carbohydrate energy. You feel like you can go wrestle now. You feel like you can go hit the bag. You feel like you can do. You'll burn a lot more energy. You'll get a much more intense workout if you eat a good breakfast than if you train on an empty stomach. That's why I love, even when I'm fasting, I'll break my fast only if I'm doing an intense training, and I'll go and I'll train. And I feel that intense training negates whatever I eat. I'll burn it. I'll train a lot harder this way.